This time we'll be looking at the Atari Jaguar and be asking the question. No, we won't be asking that question because nobody really knows the answer. Some people say 32, some people say 64. No, this time we're going to be looking at the power supply for it. So the power supply for an Atari Jaguar is center negative, and that in itself isn't a problem. The problem is if you plug a center positive, what a lot of people do, you blow a few chips up inside it. So today we're going to be doing a little mod to it, basically just adding a simple little diode, and that will alleviate that problem. So if someone does plug the wrong power supply in, it won't break it. And we have his little friend as well. I don't know why it's silver. I didn't paint it silver. I got it like this. But we'll be doing the mod to this as well. Again, suffers from the same problem. You plug in the wrong power supply, it will blow it up. It will blow up chips inside. No two ways about it. You won't be lucky. You won't just get away with it. It will destroy it. However, if you're thinking to buy one of these for spares and repairs, 99.9% of the time, not so much with this, but with this, it will be someone's just plugged the wrong power supply in at some point, and it's a fairly simple fix. Okay, with that, let's crack on. Yep, this time we got the Atari Jaguar and the CD unit. I got this connector for the TV, SCART cable. You've got to be very careful when you plug that in. You can see that's marked up with top. You could put it around either way, that thing. I wouldn't want to try putting it around the wrong way. Got the official Jaguar power supply. It's got to have Cybermorph. And Blue Lightning for the Jaguar CD. And then I also bought this thing. It's the Atari Jaguar GD drive. I bought this from Retro HQ because they seem to be the cheapest one right now. Again, I say the cheapest one. We're still talking, I think it was about £160. But when you weigh it up to buying all these games now from all the official games, it works out a lot cheaper. Plus, also, I believe this does have the ability to play the CD games now as well. Not that I've tried that yet. And again, for me, I just want to use it for homebrew because there are some fantastic homebrew Jaguar games right now. So what I thought I'd do, first things first, before I do any modifications to this machine, just make sure it works. So this is what you should get if there's no game inserted. Try and Cybermorph, which I know works with this. And doesn't look like it's reading it properly. Give it the blow. Not that it does anything. I probably could have just taken it out and reinserted it and it'll work fine, but nostalgia. Now we're talking. Okay, so now I thought I'd try this GD drive. First of all, I'll just see what it does with no micro SD card inserted in it. And that's all you get, is just a blank screen. Well, the Retro HQ thing. I don't know if you notice there's a bit of flickering on the LCD screen there. That is just down to the console itself because it's designed for a CRT screen really, and later on that's what I'll be using, but for test purposes you can see there's a bit of flicker and flutter, and depending on the LCD screen you're using, some of them will show it fine, some of them you'll get this kind of flickering, or sometimes you'll get it where it'll even go blank and come up and blank and come up, and it's not to do with the console itself, it's just to do with how that thing's interpreting the signals. So just bear that in mind. If you do get one that's blanking out or flickering, it might not necessarily be anything wrong with the console itself. It's just the screen you're using. Try using different screens. I thought I'd just try Ghouls and Ghosts here. So this is, again, what a lot of people do. Get the ST version and convert it to run on the Jaguar. So that all seems to be working fine. I'll just test the CD unit out. So the CD unit has its own power supply as well. Again, exactly the same as the console, center negative, same power supply basically. This is the first time I'm testing this CD unit, because when I got it, it wasn't working, was able to repair it. In fact, the drive itself, the Jaguar, wasn't working. But so far all I've been able to do is test a CD in there. This is the first time I'm trying a game. I bought this a few months ago, Blue Lightning. It's the US version, but apparently it should run fine. I don't know whether Jaguar games are region locked or not. I'm guessing not, the fact that the American one works on here. Also, you can see at the top it says no memory track found. So again, when you're using the CD drive, there is a little add-on cartridge you can use to back up your games.
Good to have you with us, Blue Leader.
That all seems to be working fine. So what I thought I'd do is I'll just try the GD drive just to see if I could use it as a memory cartridge, but no, it just comes up, it just won't read the thing, it sees it as a CD. So now on with the mod. So all we're going to be doing here is fitting a rectifier diode in the supply circuit. What the rectifier diode does is basically act as a non-return valve, would probably be the best way to describe it. So you imagine water going down a pipe, it'll let it go in one direction. If the water tries to come in the other direction, it'll block it and stop it coming back. So the same here with current. What it'll do, if the positive is going the correct way, it'll let it go through and then it'll work the system. If you plug something the wrong way around, so if you plug a center positive supply in now, it'll basically block it, stop it from doing any damage to the console itself. It's a shame they never fitted it at the time to the console, but I'm guessing their argument would have been, well, you wasn't using the official power supply, therefore it's a you problem, not an us problem. As you can see, it comes apart fairly easily. There's only a few screws. The diode that I'm using is a 1N5400 rectifier diode, and links below to the actual tutorial I'm using. Very good tutorial. Explains it to do on both the Jaguar CD and the console. As you can see there, it does state that it's a center negative supply needed. However, a lot of people will just find any old supply, plug it in, and think, oh no, it's not working. Then they find one, or realise it's the wrong way around, plug the right one in, and by that time it's too late. Again, I don't like doing modifications like this to consoles that are working. However, I feel with this, it is a necessity. Again, at some point in the future, if it gets sold or lend it to somebody and they do just think, oh, I can't find the power supply, oh, that power supply fits in there, I'll use that one, it will just destroy it, or just destroy the chips. So I thought now would be a good time to just kind of do this modification, prevent that from happening in the future. Just taking a little switch off here. So this switch is just to detect that the lid's closed on the CD drive. There's a little pin, and I'm guessing a lot of people, if they've opened this up, I bet you that's missing. That'll probably be half the reason why a lot of the CD drives don't work as well. So there's the diodes we're using, just one on each, one on the console and one on the CD. Just desoldering the little power cable here. Just trying to remove it, but being a little stinker it is, it's broken off. However, it's away. Just need to remove the little tab of wire that's left in there. So the diodes that I got are 50 volts, and as you can see, the legs of them are a little bit too big. So what I'm going to use is a little bit of that resistor leg, chop this one down, solder that thinner one on there. So that'll allow me to go through there. I could have drilled the PCB out a little bit bigger, but to be honest, I think, you know, it could cause more damage than it's worth. So I thought it was just easier to just go with a thinner leg. Just stripping this bit of wire and soldering that before I get the diode in there. I think it'll be a little bit tricky to do afterwards. So just soldering that in place. And again, depending on what console you got, so the wiring on my one is black and brown. But again, on this tutorial, it'll tell you there's some that are black and white, some that are red and black. So depending on your console, these wires might be a different color. So just soldering that back onto there. So all I'm doing literally is just putting this diode in series. So again, now what that will do, that will prevent, if someone does plug in the wrong power supply, just prevents the power going through, the current going through and causing any damage. Now just putting this all back together again. Thought I'd give the game port a little bit of a clean out here. Some nice propyl alcohol, just give it a good clean. Obviously make sure this stuff dries off before you power it up, just to make sure it doesn't cause any problems. It shouldn't do, but be on the safe side. Shielding's all done. That's it, just give it a test. Powers up. Now if I put this diode in the wrong way round, that wouldn't power up, so I know I've got everything right. On the CD unit here, it's a little bit more complicated. So you basically got to break a track there. So to the left hand side of that capacitor C34, you've just got to cut that. And here's where you do need a multimeter or something to test to make sure you've severed the connection. Otherwise, if you put the diode in, it's not really going to do anything. If someone plugs the wrong power supply in, it's still going to have the same issue. As you can see, it's cut. It's not the prettiest job close up, but it does the job. So again, it's all explained on the tutorial, but this is how it's wired. So just testing the diode out here. So as you can see, with the positive on the anode and the negative on the cathode, it's dropping down to 0.5 volts, and then open air it's just staying at 3.6 volts. So that looks like that's all working correctly. Plug all this back together again. Just put that little point back in there. Just got to make sure that pin does come through the case just there. We'll give it a test. That's looking good. Looks like the CD unit's working fine. We'll just put the game in again. Just make sure. Yeah, that's all looking good. Again, I just thought I'd try it on the CRT. It's a little bit flickery, but as you can see, the whole TV's flickering. It's just where the camera doesn't like filming CRT. But in real life, that's pretty good. So, excellent fix. I'll see you next time.
I hate the fact that I don't do anything to do with it. Rather strong, isn't it? Yahoo! You're on!
Ah, bugger.